Hello and welcome back to Open, everyone. You know, always inviting you to get social with us. That's right. Tweet us at BronxNet TV, and while you're there, tweet me too at Rhina Valentin. So, as a part of Women's History Month, our next guest created a body of work used to depict different types of women being themselves in society, which often judges them. And here to talk more about the Being exhibition, also known as the Women of Color exhibition, we welcome artist Walter Cruz.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Good morning. I know, you look like you just woke up too. Oh, did I just say that on air? It's all right, because I'm the café con leche. I'm going to wake you up right now. Well, before we got on camera, I was already acknowledging you as a young male figure who has a very interesting artistic background in different genres, right? Because I know you do event coordinating and you kind of implement your artistry into that as well, which we'll talk a little bit about. But the fact that you have chosen to honor women is really, really, really the reason you're here today, because you're being exhibited at the Pope Park Visitor Center. But just how does that come from a male figure, and what inspires that?
For sure. Well, it's the reason I even started making art to begin with. Maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, after I finished college, I started thinking more about, if I want to do art, what am I going to create? So as I started frequenting different spaces, I started thinking about, what do I see the least? And what I saw the least were women, specifically women of color. So I wanted to join that movement of artists who are trying to depict and create space for those who are marginalized the most. So that's been my inspiration the last few years, is how do I create what I see the least in the art world?
So I understand you're taking typical scenarios and bringing them into light. So let's just share a little bit about that, because I don't know if we have images to accompany this segment. We do. We have some artistry. Hopefully, our director William will show them while we're talking. But I want some insight as to how it is that what your process is.
Right. Yeah. So for the show, the idea was more of, instead of trying to sensationalize or like make it this bigger than thou thing, is how do we actually depict women in everyday life, and just understanding that because this is a world where women are constantly being put down or not given that space that they deserve, that it's important. Are we showing some pictures?
I'm just because I want to have a conversation about sunshine.
This is a picture of my mom. She sent me a selfie that she took, so I used it as inspiration. So I wanted it I think these days women of color just being is a political act, so I wanted to depict that. This one's of my grandmother. I found an old picture of her. I think it was in the 1980s. If you see the hairstyle, she has like this bun to the side.
Right.
Again, and then if you see there also, there's no faces.
I know, I'm looking at that, and
that was very
this is
intentional.
A boxer, obviously.
Yeah.
Who's that?
It's a picture I had, and it's very intentional. I was just thinking about how do I make it as inclusive as possible.
So let's talk about the fact that we don't have faces.
Yeah, so I wanted to make it really inclusive. So by not having faces,
is this a boy or a girl?
It's a woman.
It's a woman. I like that.
Right. So also again depicting different styles of women, different body types, different hairstyles. So thinking about, I figured out, I did some research, and there's a Dominican artist. Her name is Liliana Mera Lime, and she's the artist who created those dolls, those ceramic dolls with no faces on them. And when I researched, I found out she did that because she wanted to also make her artwork inclusive. So it affirmed what I was already trying to achieve. So I continued that idea of not putting on any faces so that when women saw these portraits, they can imagine themselves in them.
How thoughtful.
Yeah.
And I mean that. I really mean that, because you can tell that there was a realness to the portraits themselves, even though they had no faces. There was definitely a relation. I was in there. And then the colors. I mean, you didn't use typical skin color.
Yeah, and that was on purpose too. Just trying to use complementary colors, so colors that work well together, so that your eyes are calm when you're looking at them. You're not fighting for attention when you're looking at the portraits.
Well, and also the fact that now you were talking about women of color in a different realm of being a color. You're very clever. No, I was really enjoying myself visiting your website last night. How I know it's so I hate to ask, but I want to ask
Go for
only
it.
because I want to flatter you. How
Yeah.
old are you?
I'm 29.
29. Yeah, you're so ahead of yourself. You're an old soul, without a doubt. Just in all the work that I was experiencing, because your work is an experience and it's very,
you.
very well thought out.
I appreciate it.
And so, this particular exhibit, is this the first time it's being exhibited?
Yeah, this is the first time, and specifically was created for Women's History Month.
And for Pole Park Visitor
Yeah,
Center. So,
thanks to Lucy Aponte.
yeah, all right. So let's go back into those images one more
Yeah.
time, because I like the fact that you are bringing women of color into light. I like the fact that you didn't give them faces, so that they are kind of, there's a relation to all women of whatever race and ethnicity, right? Because even the hair kind of fluctuates as well, because usually we're identified by our hair, right? And so hair, color of skin. And so the last thing I want to ask is the title, Being.
Yeah, so I was just thinking about, again, how do I lay more things into something really simple? So the way I wrote it out is kind of the way it's written in the dictionary, is being. So first is be, and then it's the action of being. So I just decided to use that as the title to overlay or just convey that message throughout the exhibit.
And what does that mean to you?
It's important. I think we don't often have enough space as people, and especially women of color don't have enough space to just be. Oftentimes when we ask people, what do you want to do, is I just want to be myself. So I just want to, as a man, I think it's important to help create that space for women.
That's so lovely. Wow. Thank you, Walter.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to be one of those women one day, and I'll even buy it from you too. Yes, no, it's just the whole intention behind your creation is phenomenal. So let's talk about the exhibit before we go, how long it's going to be on display.
Yeah, so it'll be up till March 31st. I believe it's Tuesdays through Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And on the 31st, from 1 to 3 p.m., there'll be a closing reception.
So on March 31st, at the end of the month. Okay, but people can go, there's no appointment needed or anything like that.
You can just walk right in.
You can walk right into the Pole Park Visitor Center, and we thank you, Walter, for bringing it here
Thank
to
you
the
for having me.
BX.
Appreciate
Yes, thank you. Once again, you guys, the Being exhibition will be on display for the entire month of March, and that's at the Pole Park Visitor Center in Pole Park, located at 2640 Grand Concourse. And for more information on the exhibit, you can visit nycgovparks.com. Once again, on the last day, March 31st, there will be a reception happening from 1 to 3 p.m. And what's your website, Walter?
Yeah, it's walter.cruz.
Walter.Cruz. Okay, so I got it here. I just want you guys to visit Walter's website because it's so much fun. And so go to waltercruz.strikingly.com. That's Walter Cruz, strikingly.com, and it's definitely striking. Okay, you guys, we got to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll find out about a short film that sheds light on mental health. Don't go anywhere.